Hey everyone, welcome to the M&R Show. I'm Ron,
And I'm Malcolm.
and today we have a special guest. I'll let him introduce himself.
How you doing? I'm Trey. Most of y'all might have seen me in the introduction picture. So once again, I'm back. 3-peat. Here we go.
Hey, he's part of the logo. He's part of
Yeah,
the
literally, he's
logo.
part of the logo.
Sure.
Definitely,
Nice for you to be back on. Nice for you to be back on.
Yes, sir. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about some NBA All Star stuff, talking about some snubs. If somebody should have snuck in there, is there any starters that snuck in there? I know Malcolm, he's really excited about this, so I'm gonna let him start this one.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So we're talking about the West. So let's first start off with the West. I really think that I really like the list. I like the list. I think a lot of problems that people have is probably with Chris Paul as joining the list as a West All-Star reserve. But I have no problem with what Chris Paul has done. Since he's gone to the team, he averaged 16 points a game, and he's upped his assists to 8.5. I mean, if you look at a guy like Chris Paul, you have to think about he's a veteran now, so people will want to see him because his heyday is about to end at the end of the day. I mean, everybody talks about Devin Booker and how he's a snub. I understand, but at the end of the day, Devin Booker has declined in his production since last year. And that's something that you have to just look at. I mean, his field goal percentage is up, but everything else has been on decline. But we have no telling about Devin Booker's talent. He's very good. I mean, if everybody else, Brandon Ingram, Christian Wood, DeMar Rosen, I don't really think that they should have made it. But I think this is a very good list for the West.
Trey?
I agree with Malt. I mean, y'all might not know, but Chris Paul is definitely my favorite player. And I honestly feel like the Suns have got significantly better since he's been on the team. I mean, you got to look at their 2019-2020 record. They went from being a 34-39 team to this year being a 20-10 team, and they're fourth in the West. Like, the West, it's not as stacked as the East, but it's some great players in there. And, I think that Chris Paul rightfully deserved it because Devin Booker was great last year, but the one thing he was missing was winning. Chris Paul, you add him into the lineup, and then, it's a different ball game. So that's how I feel about the West. Everybody else, I think, should have made it. I think it's a pretty good list. And then for the East, honestly, personally, I don't know how Ben Simmons made it. I honestly feel like Trey Young should have been in that spot. I feel like Trey Young, he's averaging 27 points per game. I mean, that's ridiculous. At 6'1", barely 6'1", his production is insane. And I mean, Ben Simmons is averaging 15 points per game and shooting 16.7% from the three-point line. I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like they kind of messed up that one, but that's me.
Okay, yeah. So I know a lot of people are saying Chris Paul. I thought about it. I actually think it's Donovan Mitchell that should come off the list. I understand he probably had to make it because he was on the number one seed in the West, but he's also, to me, the third or fourth best player on his own team. This season, at least. I mean, that's just, by the numbers, that's not even the opinion. He's been the third or fourth best player. Because we all know Clarkson is the sixth man of the year. Rudy Gobert is the defensive player of the year right now. And Mike Conley is having a resurgence type of season where he would actually probably be the pick, but he's missed so many games, he just can't make the All-Star game. It's just one of those type of number games. I think they should replace Mitchell with Devin Booker. He's essentially higher in every category but literal scoring, points per game. But in efficiency, it's a landslide between him and Donovan Mitchell. So I definitely think D-Book should get in there. I mean, like LeBron said, this D-Book is always, underrated, him and Dame Dollar. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that, as well. So, but yeah, I think just D-Book just got to get in there. I feel like Donovan Mitchell is a player I really like, but I think he's become a little bit overrated. He's kind of like Jimmy Butler last year, where Jimmy Butler was good, but the team was just as good as he was. He wasn't too much better than Bam. He wasn't too much better than Tyler Hero. It was just like a team effort to a certain amount of wins. Why are you looking like that, Mal?
Because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see, you're going to get into this thing. I love how you use the statistics and Raptors, all the different things to prove your point with a guy like Devin Booker. But at the end of the day, Donovan Mitchell is the clear leader of that team. He's the clear engine that goes and scores.
That's subjective, though.
But it's subjective. But at the end of the day, their players around them play their roles very good, which can have deficiencies in these type of things that you look off of. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that Devin Booker is a good talent. But if you think about it, Devin Booker has not been as good as he was last year. So there is some digress. And you look at a guy like Chris Paul, and you see what he has brought to the table. That's why you bring in somebody like Chris Paul back in there, because number one, Chris Paul has improved his team not only like statistical wise, especially the win-loss record. He has improved his team culture-wise. The team always been losing. They have 20 wins right now. Last 2 years ago, they only had 18 or 19. So just think of that. Just think of that. Chris Paul has changed the culture in OKC, because you could say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the best player on that team. But at the end of the day, we've seen what Chris Paul have done when he brought, when he got into these situations, especially in OKC, especially in Phoenix. So I think that he deserves the All-Star. And, Donovan Mitchell should deserve that spot too, because the production that he has brought to the team, even though that is not really, on the type of scale that you look at, but if you look at a naked eye and you understand what he's been doing, how he's been leading these troops of players, you have to put him on the All-Star.
Yeah, my last thing on this, I know we all probably think the same, so I know we're not spending too much time on this, but I do think Dame also should have been starting instead of Luka. Of course, I'm Luka's, biggest fan, but in the day, he didn't start the season as good as Dame. The gap is very small, so no one's going to do too much about it, because who really cares? It's the fan vote at the end of the day as well. So, but I just do think he's had a better start this season than Luka. Any thoughts on that before we move on?
No.
I agree.
All right. So now we're going to be moving on to the East. So I actually have a lot to say about the East list. I thought the West was pretty good, but the East, I have a lot. So first, I don't think Buchevich, Julius Randle, or Ben Simmons should have made the list. I think Bam should have made it for Vucevic, because he does everything better than Vucevic, but literally he doesn't have the volume scoring that Vucevic does. Vucevic is more of a three-point threat, of course, we know that. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
But defense, passing, the mid-range jump shot, we all know Bam has all those different types of things. Then for Julius Randle, I think Chris Milton should make it instead of him. Very underrated player. He's actually third in true shooting percentage this year. He has a 9.0 in box creation. He's creating 9 shots per game, 21 points per game. Julius Randle is having a very, very good season, but I think it's just the efficiency of Middleton is probably going to put him over it. And then the last one is Ben Simmons. Trey basically did that one. Ben Simmons, huge fan, hasn't had a good enough season to, I think, make it. He is playing his role at the A+ level, because this is what's been asked of him. But in the day, that role is not an all-star role. So I think, Ice Trey Young should make it over him. Historic shot creator, 27.8 points per 75 possessions. He's been a dog this year. Trey.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think winning gets you votes. And a lot of people might say, Chris Paul, the president of the basketball operations, all that, he's plugged in. But you got to look at it like Embiid is the reason that they're winning. I'm not saying that Ben Simmons isn't playing a huge role and a significant role, but at the end of the day, it's Embiid and the Sixers. When you look at the Suns, it's like you can't just say it's D Book and the Suns anymore. You can't say that, because Chris Paul has been implemented into that lineup. He has orchestrated that offense and got D Book open shots that he wasn't getting last year. But with the East, though, I honestly think the only person I really have a problem with is Ben. I honestly feel like Julius Randle. When you already know I was talking about it, I was so happy when he got it. I was like, yeah, you deserved it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him.
I think Jaylen Brown. Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown and Tatum deserved it, but at the end of the day, they're below 500 teams. So it's like, okay, now you're talking about I said winning gets you votes, but then it's like, I don't know. But then again, I do feel like they rightfully deserve it. But all in all, yeah, Ben, that's the only one that I really I wasn't for.
Mo.
See, all y'all points are very understanding. It's very, just very careful. Or, y'all sit down and actually thought about it. Showed y'all worries for y'all fans.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you look at the list and I see no wrong.
Oh God.
There's just everything. Julius Randle has upped his points. He's been having a very good year for the New York Knicks, who by the middle of the season are still in the playoff picture. Can you name the last time that happened? Can you tell me the last time that happened? We weren't in college the last time that happened, to be honest. You was in middle school or almost going to high school. But you look at what Julius Randle has done. Zach LaVine, the Bulls have improved. Nikola Buchevich, who has been the only offensive piece in Orlando, but he's consistently producing. Everybody remember he had this contract before a couple years ago. Everybody said, "Oh, he's not going to be good. He's just going to be this mediocre player." But he's been playing very good ever since his contract. Orlando did a very good job of giving him that contract. I think that he's been better than Mo Bamba would be right now. And Jason Tatum, who has upped his scoring to almost 26 to 27 points a game. You look at guys like Trey Young. Trey Young, shooting 43% from the line. Everybody had high hopes for Orlando. I think that it's going to be a playoff spot, but they're not doing that right now. And if y'all looked at Trey Young's last couple of games, he's been chucking a lot of shots. You know,
his true shooting percentage is high though. We can't just look at the raw field. He gets a lot of free throws too. That's included. That's
I understand, but we looking at the raw film right now. I understand you want to go to the percentages, but if we seeing what we've seen compared to other players who have been producing a lot better, I just think that I like the list right now. I think that Domantas Sabonis should be able to should be the first one to look at, other than a guy like Trey Young or Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, another thing, Chris Middleton has lowered his points from last year, so there is a decrease in that if you think about it. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with this list. There's literally nothing wrong with this list. And I don't know why everybody want Trey Young to be on it. But if you see Trey Young play and you see how the Atlanta Hawks has been doing, you ask these questions. So,
I mean, but the thing about it is, it's like, okay, 27 points per game doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore. Like that's the thing. I'm
points with the assists as well. Let's not forget about
nine plus assists. Yeah, 9 plus assists per game, averaging like around 4 rebounds at barely 6'1". So it's like, and then on top of that, he's shooting 40 plus from the 3-point. Then you have a guy like Ben Simmons who's shooting 16.7%, but you want him to orchestrate the offense.
He's not a 3-point shooter, so I feel like adding that aspect to his game, talking about the 3-point percentage, then it's just not accurate because he doesn't shoot threes like that, and we know that he's not a 3-point shooter. But let's talk about his inside the paint and like what he does inside the paint. Then we can have a talk.
But see, that's the thing. Like when you think of All-Star, you think of overall skill set. You think of everything that they can bring to the table. Trey Young, he not just only fit. Like for instance, like you got a dude like Westbrook. He is a stat stuffer, but those are like useless stats. Like he doesn't really like affect the game like that. You have a guy like Trey Young averaging 27.9, but it's effective. Ben Simmons, you're 15. I mean, we need more out of you. We need more out of you. Like I don't know. I just can't see. I can't see how you got yours. I'm sorry.
I just don't understand the first again. Out of all people that should be going for Ben Simmons, it should be me. Like my whole base was off of Ben Simmons, but he has not had better season than Trey Young in anything. Oh, I mean, I would say usually Ben Simmons' his main thing is playmaking, but against Trey Young, playmaking is irrelevant because they're both just as good. So, I mean, finishing, Trey Young's a great finisher too. Of course, he can't dunk. So, I mean, he's not a flashy quote-unquote finisher, but he finishes good at the rim. He just takes a lot of contested shots. That's his problem, is the contested shots. Once again, above average shooting percentage anyway, but he does take bad shots. I mean, I think that's unarguable.
So we just talked about, you just said, helping this team for Trey Young, him, being efficient, helping this team out. So Ben Simmons not helping the team out? They're the number one team in the East?
Not more than Trey Young.
So he hasn't helped out his team, but Trey Young has.
They're number one team because of NBA.
Their team is under 500.
Well, which is
their team is under 500 right now.
So okay, so Drew Holiday. So is he helping his team by one Trey Young? You said, hey, I mean value, right? They're third seed. Drew Holiday or Trey Young this season. Then by your logic, I can make that same argument for Drew Holiday. That what's the difference between your argument?
No, because at the end of the day, we see what guys with Ben Simmons does. He plays defense and he plays offense. He playmates. Okay, we know what the type of guy that Ben Simmons is. We're not expecting him to average doggone 25 points a game because he's not going to do that. That's not his game. But his game is basically playmaking and be able to set off the offense, which he does very efficiently and very successfully at. Because look at the team right now.
My thing is this though. He's been compared to LeBron James. So my thing is this: the ceiling is already high for him. My thing is this: you look at a guy, okay, 15, he's averaging 15, 8, 9. Okay, cool. I mean, at 6'11", I would hope you would be doing that. My thing is this though: over a guy like Trey Young, who, yeah, they're under 500. But if you take Trey Young out of that equation, they win no games. You take Ben Simmons out, they're still gonna win some games. You see, Embiid is having a MVP season. He is the reason they're winning right now.
Question. Ron, last year, how much Bradley Beal? How much did Bradley Beal average last year?
Like 28.
Was he in the All-Star?
No, he wasn't.
Okay, so why are we expecting now this year for Trey Young, who's averaging 27 a game?
Ben's a better creator than Bradley Beal.
We're looking, but hold up.
As a Wizards fan,
I'm letting you know, based off record wise, both of these teams are not doing good. Last year, Washington Wizards was not doing good and did not select Bradley Beal to All-Star. This year, Atlanta Hawks is not doing good as expected, and same thing, Trey Young is not going to the All-Star game. Simple.
I feel like that's. But what about Boston? Then let's talk about Boston. We're talking
Boston
about 500.
Boston is still in the playoff. Hold on. Because Boston is still in the playoff picture. They still one of the top 8.
We're talking about what is the record of the team. I don't care what is the record. Are they under?
It's a better record than Atlanta Hawks.
That's the standard of Boston now. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Boston fans. Kobe, I know you have to see this. That's the standard of Boston. Yeah, we're better than the Hawks. God.
That's a different topic for another day.
How they're both? But the thing about it is both of those teams are under 500.
Yeah, that's a different topic for another. But one team is 12-17, and one team is just 15-16. All right, I'm just going to end my topic right there. That's the point. We done talking about Boston because we understand there's two. Yeah. There's two. It's not no standard. It's the fact that one team is still in the playoffs, top 8 teams, and one team is 12-16.
So one team has 3 more wins, and that makes it Tatum and Brown.
You're right.
3 wins.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, just had to make sure the fans heard that. So, okay, let's move on to Buchevich. I know both of you think Buchevich should be in there, but I think Bam should be in there. I just want to know your two, just the arguments of why Buchevich over Bam specifically.
For Buchevich, Buchevich has been very good for Orlando, and I mean we understand that you can look at what Bam has done, but what Nikola has done. For Orlando and Miami, they're in the same boat record wise. Number 2, Nikola Vucevic has played more games than Bam, and that's another thing. But I'm confused. Like, what's wrong with Nikola Vucevic being an All-Star?
I was not wrong. I'm confused.
They're putting up the same production. They have literally almost the same record. Nikola Vucevic has been producing every single night. So what's the problem? And he's playing defense.
Okay. So you
Nikola
Vucevic play defense, and we're talking about Bam. You have the nerve to bring up defense, and we're comparing him to Bam and Adebayo, who was last year the number 1 defensive center in the league. But in the playoffs, besides Anthony Davis, of course, it was 80 than Bam. He was better than Gobert last year in the playoffs, at least as a big, because he's switchable on everybody. He's 6'9", so he can guard every position, but the point guard, of course, is too quick. But besides the point guard, he can dang near guard every position. Even though I do think Vucevic, I do understand the argument, so I don't think it's like this huge gap between Bam and Vucevic, but like, I don't know. I just feel like Trey said this, someone is arguing like if you bring more to the table and you're still efficient, only argument that I think that people will use Vucevic is that he shoots the 3 better. Besides the 3-point shot, I don't know what else he does better than Bam. I really don't. Like, the shot creation is a huge gap.
Post moves, I think that Nikola Vucevic is a better back to the basket
around the
person.
same finishing though. I mean, post moves, finishing is one category, just finishing.
But I just think that's. I mean, yeah, that's just a broad view. But I'm telling you more things. In that aspect of what Nikola Vucevic can do more than Bam. I think that Vucevic has more of an offensive skill to him than Bam. I think I like Bam's, Bam's back to the basket sometimes, and I like Bam's, fronting up on a guy. But at the end of the day, I just think that Nikola Vucevic is better offensively than Bam is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like when you compare both, you look at both of their seasons, I just feel like Buchevich has been having an amazing season. I mean, because like Bam, I don't know, like, I mean, I have both of them on my fantasy, so I love both guys. But it's just like at the end of the day, like when I'm looking at those stats on fantasy, I'm like, Bam. But like some nights I'm like, oh man, Bam, he might give me 14 and 10. The next thing you know, I'm looking at Vucevic. He's giving me like 28 and 18. I'm like, oh my God. And that's like a consistent, thing that's happening every single night, day in and day out. And I mean, I didn't check whose record was better than the other. Both are probably under 500, because he haven't been having a good season. The Magic lost Markelle. But I feel like Vucevic deserved it. I mean, I feel like actually he probably could have got it last year. Did he get last year? I don't know. But
don't remember.
Yeah. I just think that, I don't know, he's definitely one of the, in my opinion, probably like top 5 centers in the league. So I think it was well deserved.
And you're right about that.
Well, I don't want to come off as a hater to anyone, but
yeah, you're a hater.
It is what it is, man. I just think Bab is better than Vu, but at the same time, Vucevic is good. But any final remarks? Well, definitely thanks, Trey. Definitely thanks for coming on the pod again. So we just wanted to bring it.
Hey man, appreciate y'all boys, man.
Hey man, we appreciate you coming on the pod, bro. We appreciate you're on the logo, so I want to make sure everybody understands. He's the one. As soon as you pop on, open the show, you see him right there.
Sir.
All right, well, make sure to follow us on all social medias at Malk and Ron Show. We have new videos dropping this week at M&R on YouTube. Definitely go subscribe and comment.
Hey, guys, thank you for the continued support, and we all appreciate it, guys. See y'all soon, though. Have a good one.
All right.